What is up, gamers? It's your average Joe with Average Joe Raids. Today, we are going to talk about the most important thing that you can do while trying to finish your faction wars and get Lydia. So, I just recently got my Lydia last week. I built her immediately, and she is in a lot of my teams, if not all of them now. And my goal is to help all of you guys finish faction wars and get your Lydia so that you can start seeing the value that she brings to your teams as well. Today, we're talking about the biggest thing that you can do to help get your runs, and it's not decreased defense, it's not damage, it is revivers. And so, my Banner Lord team is the perfect example of this. I do have Dagger in it, and she can give decreased defense, which is what I did when I cleared it for the very first time. But now she's in broken sets. A lot of these champs are in broken gear, and so what you're going to see is there's not a lot of damage being done all at once, but because we have two revivers in this faction, and they're just picking people up, we can actually get through this run. So let's go ahead and get it started. Uh, I've got this going on 2 times speed, so we can get through it a little bit quicker. And basically here, this is stage 20, and this is the stage that I farm day to day whenever this faction opens up. So that's what we're showing right now. And basically, Dagger, I think Archmage helmet might not be in any good sets. We'll take a look at the gear afterwards. I know Champfort is in broken gear because I was building him to be a Hydra resistance tank, and then I ended up taking some of his gear off and using it on somebody else. So we've got people here that aren't fully geared. Our damage dealers are not even fully geared. Our revivers are fully geared though, and both of them are going pretty quick. And Raglan is in a relentless set, and so putting your revivers in a relentless set can get them more turns, get their revives to come off cooldown faster, which can let them pick your teammates up. And for this instance, a lot of the enemies target Dagger because she's our level 50. And so she dies, and Raglan's revive is on such a short cooldown, she'll pick Dagger up, and then Dagger will be a constant target for the enemies, which makes it so that they're not targeting Chamfer and Archmage Helmet, who are doing our damage. And to be fair, Raglan and Ursula are both doing damage as well. So we're gonna get through this. Lots of revives, and the big thing here is getting the 3 stars for your faction crypt. And it doesn't matter if people die as long as your revivers can get them back up right before you finish the crypt. So we're going to speed this up even more because it does take quite a while. We don't have a lot of damage. We don't have a lot of decreased defense. So it is pretty slow. And that's something that you see a lot on the channel because I'm not going over speed runs. I'm going over runs to help the majority of the players that can't finish this stuff. We're going to get you there. We're going to get you across the finish line. You're going to be able to finish your faction wars, and we're going to get you the Lydia. So the one instance where this strategy does not work is the mirror boss for the faction wars, and I believe that's on Orcs, it's on Night Revenants, and I think it's on 1 or 2 more factions. And that boss, when it gets to low health, it swaps health with one of your champions. And so then your champion has really low health, and the boss pretty much goes back up to full. And then that's a DPS race. I believe that skill is on like a 13 turn cooldown. And you have to kill the boss before that cooldown comes off, or else he's just going to keep swapping HP. And so this strategy with low damage and revivers does not work for that boss because you're usually not able to win that DPS race and get that boss defeated before that skill comes off cooldown and he swaps health again. So this wave is a perfect example of Dagger dying, getting targeted, dying, being brought back up, getting targeted, dying. So that's why she never really gets her decreased defenses off. And when I beat the faction for the very first time, I did build her a little more tanky so that at 50 she could stay alive a little bit and try to like land a decreased defense and then die. So, you know, this run here, we're going to finish it up. I did do some targeting for Blind Seer on this wave, and then for the Unkillable guy on the second wave. And we will go ahead and pause. Raglan has a ton of healing, so, you know, healing could also be good. If she wasn't healing, pretty much we would be relying on the revives and Ursula and Raglan kind of chain reviving back and forth. The damage is pretty well split. Ursula probably has the most because of her AoE. She also just kind of smacks, to be honest. And let's go ahead and take a look at the builds here. Raglan is in a Relentless set. She actually has no banner on. I think she had a resistance banner, and I gave it to Champ for when I was trying to build him out as a Hydra resistance tank. So she's completely missing a banner. Total stats, 43,000 health, 2k attack and defense, 193 speed, which is honestly pretty slow. No crit damage, a little bit of resist, and no accuracy. So she is just there to use her A2 basically, or her A3, I'm sorry, which is her revive. It's on a two turn cooldown, full turn meter, 75% HP, and then she also fills a turn meter on her A1. So her masteries, she has this mastery that gives her more turn meter when people die, so then she can get that revive off. And yeah, that's her build. It's actually worse than I thought it was, to be honest. Chamfort, 2 pieces of gear. That's insane. And then obviously the accessories, 38,000 health, 1,800 attack, 1,400 defense, squishy, 120 speed, absolutely slow, 332 resist. So this is the remainder of, you know, the Hydra resistance tank build that I was making him for him, and then I ended up using it on somebody else, so I stripped a lot of his gear off. So 2 pieces of gear on this champion, guys, and we just beat Faction Wars 21. Ursula is probably the best built, 56k health, 2,000 attack, 1,700 defense, 206 speed, which is still a little bit slower on revivers than what I'd like to see. No crit rate, crit damage, a little bit of resist, and then accuracy for her decrease attack that she lands on her A2. It's an AoE decrease attack. Her AoE revive fills turn meters by 50% and also revives to 75% HP. So these are 2 good revivers. They revive to 75% HP instead of a little bit lower like some that you see. She does have War Master and then lasting gifts for her increased defense and strengthen. Archmage Helmet, he also has War Master, also has lasting gifts for the buffs that he gives. On his A3 here, increased speed, increased crit rate, increased crit damage, which crit rate, crit damage honestly didn't really do much for us because nobody was even close enough for 30% crit rate to get him to 100%. He does have an AoE stun here, but again, 1 piece of gear. I've used his gear on other people, and he does have accessories, but 32k HP, 1,500 attack, 1,600 defense, 113 speed, even slower than Chamfort. It's 40% crit rate, 135 crit damage, no resist, a little bit of accuracy, not enough to really land consistently those stuns. So we have 1 champ with 1 piece of gear, we have 1 champ with 2 pieces of gear, and then we have 2 geared out revivers. And I think for Dagger here, she's in the vault, so we're going to have to pull her out to look at her. And let's see, 1 piece of gear. And she doesn't even have a banner because she's not level 60. She's only level 50. She is booked out so that I could get this decrease defense move booked out here. So no masteries, 1 piece of gear, level 50, and she was basically like our bait. Everyone was targeting her, and then Raglan and Ursula were just reviving her up. So you can see here, out of the 5 champions, we did stage 20. We have 3 here that don't have more than 1 piece of gear on them. Dagger, Lord Chamfort, Archmage Helmet. And then we have 2 fully geared revivers, Raglan and Ursula. And quite honestly, they're not even like insanely geared. They just are in average, like maybe a little bit above average gear. But you know, we are average Joes here, so that makes sense. So that is the most important thing when you are defeating faction wars, in my opinion. If you're not going up against the mirror boss, having revivers, and if you can stack 2 revivers, you really don't have to worry about gearing your other champions. Now, obviously, if we geared these guys, that would have gone way faster. And, you know, for the Ogren tribes, this is kind of the equivalent to using 2 man-eaters. If you've got 2 revivers, it's kind of like being like entering the cheat. Like, you have the cheat to win faction wars. So go ahead, build your revivers. They are definitely worth it. I know that you might not use them everywhere in the game, but getting Lydia is 100% worth it. So go ahead, build those revivers, beat your faction wars. Let me know in the comments below what you want to see next on the channel, and stay average, friends. I'll see you in the next one.